Hey guys, my name's David and this is Fate Unbound. And when we first started work camping here at Madison Arm Resort near Yellowstone National Park in Montana, just talking with the work camping couples that were our co-workers, they had like all kinds of crazy stories, weird things that have happened in previous jobs, previous years here as well. The two work camping couples, it's kind of hard to say, work camping couples, they have been doing this for a while. And so, you know, they have just come across a lot of weird scenarios. And yeah, the stories they told us have been pretty crazy. And you know, when you hear that kind of stuff, you never really think it's gonna happen to you. But it only took about a month of working here before I had my own crazy story. And then about a month later, something very similar happened. And you know, these are things that I'm just gonna remember forever. And I thought that you guys would wanna hear those crazy stories also. So this is gonna kind of be a story time video. And the first one is where I saved two people that were in a sinking canoe out in the middle of the lake. And the second story is where me and my coworker Al had to go save three guys out in one of our rental fishing boats during a storm. But before we get into it, I really quickly want to tell you about this video's sponsor, Jackery, and their Solar Generator 1000 V2 package. The Explorer 1000 V2 portable power station offers a remarkable 1500 watt output, 50% higher than previous generations. It's capable of running high power essentials smoothly, from refrigerators to kettles to portable air conditioners, making it the ultimate companion for your power needs. Additionally, their product features a lithium iron phosphate battery providing 4,000 life cycles. This ensures long-lasting performance with a lifespan of up to 10 years with daily use. Also, its emergency supercharging is capable of charging from 0 to 100% in just 1 hour. And the Jackery Solar Saga 200 watt solar panel features a high solar conversion efficiency. The ETFE laminated case extends its lifespan, and the recommended angle ensures optimum absorption of the sunlight, making it the perfect power source for outdoor travel and home backup. It's portable, foldable, and can be hooked up instantly with a power station for the ideal solar power system. What I love about this solar generator system is you get all the benefits of a, traditional, more complex solar setup on your RV, but without all the hassle of installation. And this is actually much cheaper also. The flexibility you get with a system like this is pretty incredible. Right now I have my travel trailer hooked up to it, so it's powering the entire RV just as if I was hooked up to shore power, and the 200 watt solar panel behind me is keeping this power station charged up while it's supplying power to my entire rig. This system is powerful enough to power the appliances in your RV, but also small and portable and lightweight enough to take with you just to, keep your cell phones or other devices charged while you're tent camping. And this solar panel folds up and is really easy to carry. Check this out. That's it, it's ready to go, and so is the power station. And I'll go ahead and post a link in the video description below if you guys are interested in picking up the Jackery Solar Generator 1000 V2 for yourself. Big thanks to Jackery for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the stories. Our first story starts out with a 60-year-old woman and her 20-year-old grandson that took out one of our rental canoes you can see right behind me here. Now when they first left, the waters were calm, the winds were calm, everything was fine. It was a beautiful afternoon. But I was actually on lunch back over in my trailer when I got the call that there were some canoers out on the lake that needed some help. Now, I don't know if there was some miscommunication when I got the call from the office, but the person I was talking on the phone with didn't sound too worried, or at least I interpreted it as, they weren't too worried. They had said that a canoe had flipped over near the tent camping sites. And so just based on what I had heard from the call, I forget exactly what was said. I just assumed that, the canoe had flipped over, they were able to get back to shore, and I just had to go out and grab one of our fishing boats, boat on over to them and drag the canoe back to our dock area. I thought everyone was fine. I didn't think there was any kind of emergency or scary situation. But I cut my lunch short, got on over to the docks, got in a fishing boat, and started, to head on over to, near the shore of our tent camping sites to retrieve the canoe. And it wasn't until I got out near the tent camping sites that I knew something was up. This was worse than I thought, because, I'm looking around near the shore, I'm looking out on the lake, I don't see any canoe. And so I turned the boat back around to look out toward just the bigger area, further out on the lake, and I see a canoe way out there. And at this point, the winds had really picked up. And so what had gone through my head is, okay, I think maybe the winds have taken this canoe all the way away from the shore and out into the wider lake area. So this is the boat that I was in at the time. It's just a little 14-foot fishing boat powered by an 8-horse 4-stroke Honda motor. And yeah, when I saw that canoe, or what looked like a canoe, it was so far away I could barely even make out what kind of boat it was. But I thought, okay, wait, maybe this is them. And so yeah, I just full throttled out to get out to them as fast as I could. And as I approached them, I realized that the gravity of this situation is a lot worse than I originally thought. It turns out I didn't just need to go and retrieve a canoe. What had happened is the canoe had capsized near the shore, near their campsite. They were able to flip the canoe back over. The 60-year-old woman was able to get back into the canoe, but the 20-year-old grandson was not able to get back into the canoe because it was just so full of water. Adding his weight to the canoe would have just made it sink under the water. And so he was just hanging on to the side of the canoe, waiting for me to get out there. Thankfully, he knew how to swim. But once I got out there, I, asked them both if they knew how to swim, just to, kind of assess the situation and see what I was working with. And unfortunately, the 60-year-old woman said that she did not know how to swim, and neither of them had life jackets. They just had those floating seats. And so I couldn't even ask them to put their life jackets on, just to make sure that they were safer. And by this point, the winds had really, really picked up. They were shoving this fishing boat all over the place. It was so hard to turn it in a way that I could throw them a rope to hook onto the front of the canoe so that I could begin towing them back to shore. It was just a really rough situation. The waters had gotten really rough and the waves were, just crazy. So what I thought was going to be a simple canoe retrieval, has now become a full-on rescue operation that, quite honestly, I was not really equipped or trained to handle. This is only like my third time driving one of these fishing boats. I have moved them around the dock a little bit just to, refuel them or to move them to a different slip. But I had never done, something this technical before. And with all these high winds and high waves shoving both of our boats all over the place, there's a canoe that is nearly completely full of water, 2 people that are freaking out. It's like I said, the gravity of the situation is really setting in on me, and I begin to fear that something bad's gonna happen. But thankfully I was able to orient the boat next to their canoe in a way that I could throw the line to the 20-year-old. He was able to tie it onto the front of the canoe, and I was able to begin, towing them back toward the dock. But that's just where everything sort of began, because now that I'm towing them back toward the dock, I'm headed straight on to very strong headwinds. And so if my boat goes to either side of the direction of the winds, they really start to shove my boat to want to turn it to one side. And so I'm not able to smoothly tow them at all. The winds are catching my boat, the winds are catching their canoe, and it's making everything very difficult. And to compound matters, I'm not able to give the boat much throttle because I need to tow them fairly slowly so that the canoe doesn't tip back over again. You know, it's full of water, it's very unsteady. The woman inside is trying her best to keep the boat from tipping, and again, the 20-year-old is just holding on to the side of the boat while I'm slowly towing them back. You know, I'm not able to get either of them into my boat because then we would risk capsizing the rescue fishing boat, and so yeah, it was just really, really difficult because since I'm trying to go fairly slow to not tip their canoe over, it doesn't really give me enough steering authority to fight the winds. And so, you know, I'm constantly having to throttle up to get some more steering authority. But then that makes the ride really jerky for them. And so I got to slow back down, you know, because yeah, the waves are coming right in on us too and crashing into the boat, crashing into the canoe, and it's just an extremely stressful situation. But thankfully, in time, I was able to get them back to the docks, get them back on land. You know, the 20-year-old grandson helped me heave the canoe up onto shore so that we could dump, you know, turn it over and dump all the water out. And yeah, they were very thankful. You know, I apologize because believe me, this was not the smoothest rescue at all. Like I said, I wasn't very proficient with maneuvering this fishing boat, so it was a pretty jerky tow ride back for them, and I felt bad because I was sure that you know, was stressing them out also as we were getting back. But in the end, I was able to get them safely back to shore. And you know, everyone was fine. I was able to get a picture with them too afterwards, you know, just because I wanted to remember this. I was able to get their names to Lorraine and Vincent. Guys, if you're watching, I'm really happy that we were able to get you guys safely back, and I'm sorry you didn't have the best experience. I'm sorry that the waters didn't stay like this. I know when you first went out it was really calm. But yeah, in this area, we're in a valley that's just surrounded by mountains, and so the weather is super unpredictable. And you know, this lake is long and narrow between the mountains, and so yeah, when the wind picks up, it's basically just a wind tunnel through here. And you know, the waters can go from smooth to rough like that. Now in this next story, this situation was much less life-threatening, but it was still very difficult. What had happened is there were 3 guys who rented out this 16-foot fishing boat with this Mercury 9-horsepower motor. And I was the guys to show them the boat, show them how to use it, show them how to start the engine, and you know, they had told me that they have little to no experience with this type of boat, and so I went through with them step by step how to start the engine, and I let them know that it's very easy to flood this engine. If you either squeeze this bulb too many times, or if you push the priming button too many times, you'll flood it and it won't start. But that didn't stop them from flooding it. It was a similar story that when they first left, the waters were calm, skies were clear, but about 2 hours after they left, a very strong thunderstorm started blowing in, and conditions out on the water quickly changed. They were out in the middle of the lake just fishing with the engine off, but once the wind started to pick up and the waves started to get rough, they decided it was time to leave and come back to the dock, but they could not start the engine, and the winds and the waves were pushing them towards shore very quickly. They ended up getting shoved all the way up onto shore. The prop dug into the sand, and so, you know, they couldn't start the boat. They were now beached. They didn't know what to do. They were out in the middle of nowhere. They were several miles away from this campground, so they called the office, and it was now up to me and my coworker Al to go save them. Now, at the time of the first story I told you about with the Canoers, we did not have this pontoon boat. This is a new addition as a rental for this campground, but at the time of this story, thankfully, we had the pontoon. So we didn't have to go rescue them in a fishing boat. We were able to go out in this pontoon. But a big problem was, like I said, it was thundering and lightninging. It was pouring down rain. This was a very strong thunderstorm, and it was in the evening. You know, Al and I were just about to get off work when we got the call. We got the call at like 6:50 p.m. and we were getting off at 7. And also, we had no idea where these guys were. We were just told that they were that way. So we would leave the dock, head left. We didn't know what shore they were on. They just couldn't provide us very much information. I think they got a little disoriented just because of the stress of what was happening in the thunderstorm. So they didn't really know where they were. And so, yeah, we just hopped in the pontoon, hauled out as quick as we could, and we're searching for them. Visibility is so low because the rain is just coming down in buckets. Yeah, lightning is, you know, striking, thunder's going off. It was pretty interesting situation. I joked to Al, I was like, so what are we now? Are we like the Madison Arm Coast Guard search and rescue? Like, what is this? But eventually we did find them, and thankfully where they were, the depth of the water dropped off really quickly from shore. So Al was kind of able to expertly pull the boat in a way that the front of the pontoons sort of got into the sand just a little bit. But the fish finder was showing us that we had plenty of depth, and so we weren't going to, you know, hit the rudder into the sand with him holding the boat that way. And when we got there, the boat was not only beached and its rudder and prop just buried into the sand, but it was also just full of water because the waves were coming on so strong that they were crashing into this fishing boat and coming up over it and just filling it completely with water. And so we had one of the guys, we tossed a bucket to one of the guys, and he started, you know, bailing out all of the water as quickly as he could. They got all of their stuff, and they were able to climb up into the pontoon. But once, you know, a decent amount of water was out of the boat, this fishing boat, I just like waded into the water almost up to my waist and, you know, tied a line to it, threw it up to Al. He tied it up onto the pontoon. And they just backed the pontoon out and pulled that fishing boat also while I was, you know, giving it some help also to get it out of the sand. And then I just walked on up to the pontoon, kind of up to my waist in water, and climbed back in. So go figure, once we got the guys up into the pontoon and we got their fishing boat behind the pontoon and we're towing it back here to Madison Arm Resort, the storm just completely subsided, stopped raining, stopped thundering and lightning. The sky began to clear, and we all just like we all just started joking about that, like, go figure, you know, the storm couldn't have subsided earlier or, you know, came later. It just had to be like that perfect moment where these guys couldn't start their boat, and that's when it really picked up. And once they were saved and safe inside, you know, on the pontoon, the storm's gone. Just go figure. I got a picture with these guys too in the boat while we were towing the fishing boat behind us. You know, again, I just wanted the memory. This was like a stressful situation. There was a lot of urgency to it, and, you know, I just wanted to have that memory. They were very thankful that we came. We were a little worried they would be upset and kind of blame the campground for not being able to start the boat. But what was funny is that once we got back, one of the guys actually asked me, he goes, you know, I'm curious, will you try to start that engine up? And it took me 5 pulls. She fired up. You know, I think the first 4 pulls was just clearing out some of that fuel, or, you know, maybe it had gotten some water in, I don't know, but in about 5 pulls she started up no problem, and we all kind of laughed about that too. So those are the stories of the 2 rescues I've had to do in my short time as a work camper here at Madison Arm Resort. If you guys like stories like this and want me to make more videos of just some weird, crazy things that have happened here at this campground, then yeah, let me know, and I've got some more things I could tell you guys about. And if you're not subscribed and you want to see more videos like this, or more full-time RVing videos, more RV DIY videos, then please consider subscribing to the channel. It would really help me out. But my name's David, this is Fate Unbound, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.